It all began on a Tuesday. Tuesdays are usually for bin collections and, slightly disappointing telly, but this Tuesday was different. This was the day Britain went a bit mouldy. Sarah Pringle, founder of the Moldy Bread Appreciation Society, a club for those who saw beauty in blue fuzz and green splotches, had finally achieved her dream. Not winning the prize for the best petunias, oh no, her dream was much bigger, much greener, and much, much smellier. With the help of her society's most devoted members, Sarah had cultivated mutated spores from the nation's forgotten loaves, using them to create her infamous mushroom men. Suddenly, everything was covered in a fine layer of fuzzy green stuff. Post boxes wore furry green hats. The lions in Trafalgar Square looked like they had a dreadful case of mossy dandruff. Even the Queen's corgis had little green tufts on their ears. Food was the worst. A slice of toast didn't just pop up from the toaster, it wobbled up, sporting a rather fetching coat of blue fur. A glass of milk looked like a science experiment left out over the summer holidays. People tried to complain, of course, but their complaint letters would grow mushrooms before they even reached the postbox. It was a proper pickle, or rather, a proper mouldy pickle. From a window in number 10 Downing Street, Prime Minister Keir Starmer watched with a heavy heart. He had plans, you see, sensible plans. Plans about the economy and healthcare. Nowhere in his big book of sensible plans was there a chapter titled, "What to do when a mouldy bread society unleashes mushroom men." He sighed, picking a small toadstool from his lapel. His morning cup of tea had a mushroom floating in it, which winked at him. It was all terribly undignified. The whole country had been taken over, and the new national anthem sounded suspiciously like someone squelching through mud. This new Britain was Sarah Pringle's masterpiece. Her mushroom men, lumpy chaps with caps for heads and feet like roots, patrolled the streets. They didn't say much, mostly just harumph and spore, but they were surprisingly good at directing traffic, albeit by pointing with a mouldy finger. Sarah herself sat upon a throne made of giant glowing mushrooms in what used to be Buckingham Palace, now renamed the Fungal Fortress. She cackled as she watched her new kingdom on a giant screen made of mycelium. Britain was hers, all slimy and green, just how she liked it. Not everyone was happy with this new, mouldy state of affairs. Deep in the suburbs, in a cul-de-sac where the neighbourhood watch signs were now covered in slime, a plan was brewing. It was brewing in the mind of Gabby Gogbog, a witch who had seen better days. Gabby used to be a proper, top-notch witch. She could turn traffic wardens into frogs and make it rain custard creams. But everything changed the day Keir Starmer ate the original ruby sausage roll, the true source of her magical power. In a single fateful bite, her abilities vanished. She was now just a normal person who owned a lot of pointy hats. Gabby was furious. She couldn't even manage a simple spark to light her cauldron. She had to use matches like a commoner. Her cat, Midnight, just stared at her with pity. But Gabby had an idea. It was a sneaky idea, a clever idea, a very Gabby Gogbog idea. She knew of a particular type of person, a person filled with a special kind of energy, a powerful, grumbling energy. She needed Karens, lots of them. She put up posters promising a return to the good old days, a time of clean pavements and managers who could be spoken to. They came in their droves, a magnificent assembly of women with identical haircuts and a shared belief that things were better yesterday. They were called Brenda and Susan and another Brenda. They gathered in Gabby's back garden, complaining about the state of the petunias and the lack of decent customer service from the mushroom men. Gabby Gogbog stood before them on an upturned plant pot, her face a mask of sincerity. "My friends," she declared, "we have been wronged. But with your combined energy, your righteous indignation, we can perform a ritual to restore order." The Karens cheered, a sound like 1,000 teacups rattling in disapproval. Gabby explained the plan. They needed a magical focus, an item of immense power. Not a crystal skull or a dragon's tooth, but something far more potent, far more British. They needed the legendary ruby sausage roll from Greggs, the last one known to exist without a single speck of mould on it. It had been preserved in a Tupperware box by a very determined lady named Carol. This sausage roll, Gabby explained, would be the key to unlocking her lost powers and saving them all. The ritual began at dusk. The Karens formed a circle around Gabby's bird bath, which was now filled with lukewarm vimto. Carol, the guardian of the sacred pastry, stepped forward and placed the ruby sausage roll on a small ceremonial plate. It glistened under the setting sun, a perfect golden-brown beacon of hope in a world gone green. The air crackled with energy, mostly from the Karens complaining that the grass was damp and that Brenda was standing too close. Gabby raised her arms to the sky, a look of intense concentration on her face. "Now!" she shrieked. "Channel your frustrations. Think of every time you were put on hold, every time you received the wrong coffee order, every time a teenager on a scooter rode on the pavement. Pour it all into the sausage roll." The Karens closed their eyes and began to mutter. "I'd like to speak to the manager of this reality," one whispered. "This is unacceptable," hissed another. A low hum filled the garden as their collective grumbling energy swirled around the birdbath, spiraling towards the flaky pastry prize. A bolt of purple lightning shot out of the sausage roll and struck Gabby right in the chest. Whoosh! Her hair stood on end. Her eyes glowed with power, and she cackled a laugh that made the garden gnomes tremble. "It worked!" she shrieked, floating a few inches off the ground. "I can feel it! The power, it's back!" The Karens opened their eyes and clapped politely. "Jolly good," said Susan. "Now, about this mould problem. When can we expect things to be sorted? I have a book club on Wednesday." Gabby Gogbog floated down, a wicked grin spreading across her face. "Oh, you want your reward, do you?" she sneered. "You want everything back to normal?" The Karens nodded eagerly. "Well," Gabby said, flicking her wrist, "here you go." With a series of loud pops, each and every Karen was transformed. Their sensible shoes turned into tiny paws, their stylish bobs turned into furry ears, and their complaining mouths turned into twitching, whiskered snouts. In a flash, Gabby's garden was filled with a horde of confused-looking rats, all squeaking indignantly. "Ungrateful wretches," Gabby chuckled. "Now off you pop!" With her powers restored and her followers scurrying into the bushes, Gabby Gogbog felt magnificent. She was no longer a powerless nobody who had to buy her own milk. She was Gabby Gogbog, witch of the suburbs, and she had a score to settle. This country wasn't big enough for two magical menaces, especially when one of them had such a terrible sense of interior design. All that green and brown, it was dreadfully drab. Gabby preferred a bit more purple and black, with the occasional flash of sinister green lightning, a much classier sort of evil. She summoned her transport. Not for her, a boring old broomstick. Oh no. With a wave of her hands, her rusty old wheelie bin began to shudder and shake. Its wheels grew larger, bat wings sprouted from its sides, and its lid flapped open and shut like a hungry mouth. It was the Binbat 2000, her very own flying machine. She hopped inside, the lid snapping shut behind her. The Binbat roared to life, its engine rumbling with the sound of 1,000 empty bottles being tipped into a skip. It was time to go to London. As she soared through the night sky, the wind whistling past her pointy hat, she surveyed the kingdom below. From up here, the Moldy Takeover looked almost pretty, like a giant fuzzy blanket tucked over the country. But Gabby knew it was a sham. It was Sarah Pringle's vision, not hers. There was only room for one eccentric tyrant in this nation, and Gabby was determined it would be her. She had the power, the ambition, and a much better hat. Sarah Pringle and her damp little mushroom men wouldn't know what hit them. The Binbat 2000 circled over the fungal fortress, the glowing mushroom palace where Sarah Pringle sat on her throne. Down below, the mushroom men looked up, their flat cap heads tilting in confusion at the sight of a flying wheelie bin. Gabby grabbed her wand, a gnarly piece of wood that crackled with renewed energy. She took a deep breath. The final showdown was about to begin. The witch versus the fungus. It was going to be messy. It was going to be magical. It was going to be epic. Gabby Gogbog cackled, her laugh echoing across the mouldy capital. "Right then, Pringle," she yelled into the wind. "Let's be having you!"